So it is official. We have taken on a fourth new year at the Shala. So now we celebrate Diwali, right? Usually November. Then we celebrate our New Year in January, and then the Chinese New Year, which is usually in February. And we have now added the Jewish New Year because we needed a fourth New Year to celebrate now. I have long admired the beautiful rituals and traditions of the Jewish culture and tradition, and this is always this time of year I feel like it's really so beautiful to practice forgiveness in order to reset and to start your new year. So I felt like it also was just beautiful timing because the past 3 weeks we've kind of led up to this talking about loving big, and we've been talking about the Bodhisattva, you know, the compassionate heart and how we show up in life, and the vagus nerve, you know, how really having a strong vagal tone not only makes you physically more healthy, but it makes you emotionally and more healthy as well. So I just felt what perfect timing then that it is the time of the year for Rosh Hashanah, and for us to look at, you know, if we look at being able to love and being able to have a compassionate heart, it really means we must be able to forgive, and the importance of forgiveness for us to be healthy, energetic, and happy beings. So I started this by saying, you know, in yoga we always talk about the chakras, you know, and although this practice for us is physically, we're going to open our body up and get stronger, it's energetic, we're going to increase our energy, even out our energy in other ways. But this is also meant to be for all of us, despite any religious affiliation or irregardless of that, as our spiritual path or our emotional health. So we sort of understand that as yogis from the viewpoint of the chakras, you know, these energy wheels that move up Sushumna Nadi. And we have studied for years that, you know, the lower chakras are more family and tribal and survival and just kind of getting on in life, you know. And then as we move up through the chakras, we get to the fourth chakra, which is what? Your heart chakra. And it's very much considered the transitional point from the lower chakras to the higher chakras as you evolving into more of your spiritual self, or your more evolved self is another way to think of it. And so I always consider the fourth chakra the doorway. You know, that love isn't a destination, but it's a doorway into a higher way of being, really. And so to really open that doorway, we know in yoga that we need to have that. We do all these up dogs and extensions and back bends to facilitate that opening and movement of prana through that arena. But we know emotionally as well, in order for us to really open up that area and be about love, we have to also be able to let go of things and to forgive. So I asked Kim, who I love all the traditions her family practices, to write up a little something for us about the Jewish New Year so we can all participate in some of the rituals. This is what Kim wrote for us. Basically, Jewish New Year is Rosh Hashanah, which means head of the year. Yom Kippur is 10 days after Rosh Hashanah, and this time in between is called the Days of Awe, which I really love that. The reason for this is during this time it is custom to ask forgiveness from others, as well as forgive those who may have wronged us. Just as important is to forgive oneself. The power of this process is a letting go and a recognition that we can create change and move into a new year, shedding those things we wish to shed from the year past, as well as to welcome in and set intention for the new year. And then one of the rituals we did on Sunday was we did a little a forgiveness meditation, which you guys will all do today. And then at the end, Kim brought us little slices of apples and honey. So in the tradition, you would take the apple and the honey on top to represent bringing in sweetness for the new year. So, and I love that. So I really want for myself and for all of us to consider, if we take this on as a community, the Shala, to take on our fourth new year, is to really look at the value and the importance and the beauty of not just practicing love, but practicing forgiveness. I was, on Sunday when we were doing this conference, I remember feeling like the whole room had gotten really quiet, you know, and I feel like everyone kind of sunk into this place, just in our humanity, when you hear the word forgiveness, that you sink into this very internal place, like Vijnana Maya Kosha, this very settling thing within us. And you could just feel it in the room. It had like a different feeling when we started talking about forgiveness. And I thought, you know, in the Hindu culture, they say a word holds the essence of the meaning, or the essence of the thing. And so that's why we pray, and that's why we chant, right? So if I say over and over, Shanti, 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 I'm invoking peace. And so I really, just to say the word forgiveness, I feel like it holds something for us to say that. It resonates with something within each of us. And so to kind of tap into that this week, consider a few different ways that we forgive, right? So first we have to forgive ourselves. So we're able to look and see, of course all of us just have all kinds of stuff going on, and different times in our life where, you know, we need to first just let go of things we hold on within ourselves that need either little forgivenesses or big forgivenesses, you know. And I feel like that's sort of the doorway then to allowing us to look around our life and see where else do we need to forgive. Could be family, could be friendships, could be things that just happen to us. And then of course the third aspect of this is being able to ask for forgiveness. So in considering that, I want to tell you guys a couple stories that I share with you all the time. But this is the time of year where I feel like these stories really help me anyway to like think about how I'm really living my life, you know, the day-to-day like moments of my life. And the first one is a Buddhist teaching. And it's a story of Buddha where he's doing a teaching around anger. And he's talking about anger being something that is real for all of us. And and as we see the anger, we can see it as like a burning hot coal, you know, and we feel that heat, we feel the anger of something. And if we don't let go of that anger, though, it winds up just burning our own hand. It's the thing about anger, you know, there it is. And I was remembering too the movie Lord of the Rings, when Gollum has that little golden ring that he's so obsessed with, and he's polishing it and holding it close to him and saying, "My precious." And it's like this ugly thing, it represents some kind of darkness, right? That winds up making him ugly. And he becomes so obsessed with this. And I feel like sometimes our anger is like that coal or like that ring that we polish and we keep it close to us because it's our anger and, you know, we deserve it or it's righteous in some way. But the third story is a story that I think I was watching a video when I was, I have to go back and figure out where I first heard the story, but it was by Carolyn Meese's partner, who is an MD, and he was giving a workshop on anger. And a lady comes up to him afterwards and she says that she really enjoyed the workshop. It helped her so much because she realized that she had like a little vial of poison that was her anger. And every day she would get angry at this person and she'd sip a little bit of poison. The next day she'd be angry at this person, she'd sip a little bit more poison. And every day she was sipping this poison, being so angry at this person, not realizing that the person she was killing wasn't the other person, but she was really killing herself, you know, through this poison. And I think often that's what happens when we're so angry at someone and it feels so righteous or so justified, like you really wronged me, you know, and maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but you still feel like you really wronged me, you know. And in that, you know, we hold on to that and it winds up becoming nothing. It doesn't affect them. It really winds up being only hurting ourselves when we hold on to that kind of that type of anger. So I love to think of it in that way, and we're going to study next week the Granthis, but to think about where in your body or where in the corners of your life you feel like you've got a little bit of that vial and you're just sipping it. You know, have you ever, of course it's no one in the room, but you ever like been with someone that was just so angry about something and they just were just holding on to it? And they would just, when they would talk to you about it, they would just get so worked up about it. And they get so worked up about it that you could like literally feel their like blood pressure like rising. You know, like, whew, you know? But we don't sometimes often see ourselves when we are that person, and it's us that's like really getting angry, getting more angry, and getting more angry about something. So, so this week I'm welcoming all of you and inviting all of you to celebrate this opportunity to kind of reset. And Kim and actually Jay is here as well. So the tradition on Thursday, it's not too late, right? If we still wanted to throw bread?
Yeah, no, you can go, actually you can go until about October 6th or 7th.
Okay, and tell me the name of it again. The tradition is called?
Tashlik.
Tashlik. And the tradition is to, it's on our website, actually Kim translated it for us. It's this beautiful casting away, right, of the coals or whatnot. You want to think of it as the Golem's ring or the coals. And we cast them away into the ocean in order to be freed and let it go and lighten ourselves for the new year. Is that a good translation, would you say? So the tradition is to get some bread. Mom has some bread outside for you guys. Any old bread will do, I've heard. And so you go to the ocean, and I actually did mine on Thursday, and it was really very cathartic, just very beautiful, you know, this just casting and thinking of, it's really, I love for all of you to think of this as a practice. Like, you know, it's not a station we arrive at, like on Thursday, oh, I'm done with that, never have to do that again. No, you might have to do it again the next day, you know. But just something that we're willing to constantly, you know, I was saying some of my favorite relationships, whether they're family relationships or some of the couples that are here, I know that being part of any healthy relationship is just that practice of constantly forgiving, you know, the little things and the big things. And, you know, that's what makes our relationships with each other beautiful. We have to keep practicing that. So I'll finish with this. And this is part of a larger prayer that we say for the New Year's here at the Shala. It's from Sioux, a Native American prayer called Let Me Walk in Beauty. And we face all four directions when we do the full prayer. But today, I just want to finish with the East because I feel like this represents the tradition of the New Year that we're embarking upon. Great Spirit of light, come to me out of the east with the power of the rising sun. Let there be light in my words. Let there be light on my path that I walk. And let me remember always that you give the gift of a new day. Never let me be burdened by sorrow with not being able to start over. Namaste.